Hello everybody, Image here, and I'm delighted to be back casting some StarCraft. I was sort of forced to take a few days off of casting because I had to assemble my progress review for my PhD. I gave my review presentation yesterday, and I got the feedback from my panel chair today, and it's good news. I'm making enough progress. I am not going to be kicked out of my program or have my scholarship funding cut, or any other thing that is going to happen to me that's going to cause me to retreat to Canada. So everything is cool, and I am getting ready to decompress, and this decompression for me is going to include casting some StarCraft and drinking some refreshing barley tea that I just made. As you can see from this intro, this is not a Pro League game, this is an OSL game from the round of 16, and it should be an exciting one. Both of these are players that I like, and I think there's a lot for you to like too. And they also kind of look alike now that I noticed that. On the right there is Stork. He's a Protoss player for Samsung Khan who needs very little introduction. He's renowned for having won a stack of Star League Silvers. And he's also this year's defending OSL champion. Last year he finally won his first OSL. So obviously he is probably a big favorite as the defending champ and is a really big name player. His opponent, who was just sitting on the left there, is Type B, who is a Zerg player for the Sparkies, the Height Sparkies, who we haven't seen very much of lately. He's actually been playing in the minor league up until quite recently, so it's kind of surprising to see him here and to see him in general. He hasn't been playing in the Pro League very much, but he's not a slouchy Zerg player. I actually kind of like, I like his games, I like his style of play. His overall record lifetime is 20-17, so that's about 54%, so, you know, no slouch for a fairly new player is Type B. But you have to look into those stats a little bit more. Before we get to that, let's just get our map and our players and positions set up. So that is Stork. He is the brown Protoss at the 3 o'clock. Type B is the blue Zerg at the 9 o'clock, and we're on Heartbreak Ridge, and that's exciting because we've been seeing a lot of good Protoss versus Zerg games on this map lately. Jaedong versus Movie from the previous round of the OSL was fantastic on here. Cholera has casted that. I really recommend people view his cast of it. Really interesting game there. Bisu versus NC Yellow was played on this map. I did a cast of that, which I thought was pretty good. If you want to watch that and get a variety of perspective, you can also see it on Diggity's account, Cholera's account, Klazart's account, and Moletrap's account. I'm not putting myself into the same category as those commentators, but maybe someday. Looks like a 9 pool there from Type B, because I didn't see that second Overlord popping out before the pool went down. So Type B is looking like he's going to be doing some early pressuring, which really plays to his style. Type B is kind of known for a very aggressive, low economy play style, so that should be really interesting. Meanwhile, Stork has scouted the 9 pool. He's getting his Forge up for a fast expand, and he'll be I think if he's smart about this, he'll be planting 2 cannons before his Nexus, because Type B is going to be mounting Zergling pressure really soon. And there's a clever move by Stork. He's scouting that back mineral patch to make sure that's not getting mined out, to give those Zerglings an alternate route in. Type B is now setting up for his expansion, and Stork is doing a good job of harassing around to prevent that from going up. And he's blocked it with a pylon. I am a little bit curious as to why Protoss players don't do this sort of thing more often. Terrans do it every now and again with engineering bays, and it's going to delay this this hatchery for a decent while until that pylon gets cancelled. And Type B has responded to this by setting up the hatchery elsewhere at the bottom left base rather than his natural. Still no gas for Type B critically, so bit interesting to see what's going on there. And it's going to be 9 pool into into two additional hatcheries before gas, so this is a little bit bizarre, and there is a gateway going up for Stork. So Stork's forced a bit of an early game deviation there, and I think by doing that he's also going to manage to get away with only planting one cannon at his natural. That's a risky move that he made, but it seems to have paid off okay. Stork's also taking his gas, and he is probably looking to play a pretty standard game because he's the favorite. I was talking a little bit earlier about Type B's stats, so I said he was 20 and 17. 4 of those games were in the minor league, so if we were going to count his major league games, he'd actually be 16 and 17 because he won all 4 of those minor league games. So he's about 50-50. His versus Protoss is actually exactly a 50-50. He's won and lost 7 games. And Stork's weakest matchup is against Zerg. He's a respectable 53% against Zerg, but it's nowhere near his 67% versus Terran and about 60% versus Protoss winning record. So Stork, a very good player all across the board, but his weakest matchup is versus Zerg. Making up for this fact, though, is the fact that Heartbreak Ridge is a Protoss favoring map. Protoss have been winning about 60% of their games on here, so that is an additional advantage for Stork, I guess, but we'll have to see if he can ride this to victory. Type B, like I said, a very aggressive, low-economy player, typically, so it'll be interesting to see if that is going to overcome Stork's very solid play and his just very good macro managing large army economy style. It's yet another one of these sort of classic matchup types. Recently we've seen things like legend versus current hotshot, or upstart rookie versus veteran, and now we have low economy player versus macro player, and I think that it's going to help make for a really interesting game, in fact. And Type B probing out that entrance with a Zergling trying to get a scout in. That Zealot was on hold position, so it let it by, but the cannon is there to clear that out. So no additional information for Type B. That second cannon is going up, and a Dragoon out as well. Type B is planting a drone over by that back mineral patch entrance into his base, and let's see, Templar Archives going up for Stork, as well as another gateway. And we're seeing all of the hallmarks of a switch from Type B into a standard 5 hatchery Hydra build off of the 3 hatch start. So the 9 pool, I think, will have slowed down his economy slightly, but I think the game is pretty much normalized here. I don't think Stork has accumulated any serious advantage, and losing that Dragoon would hurt a little bit. So I'd say we're pretty even. We're pretty even heading into this middle game stage. Some Scourger out to try to deal with that Corsair, and some early DTs already taking the field. That's a little bit unconventional. I'm not going to say it's a bad idea, but definitely a surprise. And Type B is pretty on the ball. He's already laying out his bases in a pretty effective way to stop those DTs from being able to do any effective sort of harassment. But with these Corsairs showing up to knock out detecting overlords and clear the way for the DTs, Type B is going to really need some Hydralisks on the ground to defend against this pretty soon, to just protect his overlords. He's been doing a good job of scourging Corsairs, but enough of those DTs are still alive to do a lot of damage, especially if that Corsair manages to take that Overlord out. Overlords do take a while to spawn, so... And this is potentially a disaster for Type B here, but another Overlord pops in the nick of time. He only loses a drone there, so... He's lost a lot of overlords, and that's going to set his macro back, to be sure. But that could have done a lot more damage than it did. So Type B dodging a bullet there